creature had long teeth that protruded in different directions, and its deadly pale skin peeled away from its face.
Hi, I will never forget this creepy story, which makes me feel terrified. By the way, my name is Carol. Since I was little, every summer, I went to visit my grandmother. She lived in a remote village, and her house was on the outskirts, not far from the woods. I loved visiting my grandmother, and I always went to her with pleasure, until one occasion made me leave, and never return there again. It was one of the days of my stay in the village. My grandmother had to go to the district center for a reunion of classmates. She left for the night, leaving me alone. I was 12 years old at the time, and it didn't scare me. After watching television all day, I decided to read, chose a book from my home library, and settled down in bed. I read 10 pages and began to doze off. Almost asleep, I heard someone scratching at the window. I got out of bed and went to see who it was. It was dark outside the window and I couldn't see anything. However, there were no trees or bushes by the window, and it couldn't have been branches. I felt creepy and had goosebumps running down my back. I turned on the light everywhere and started reading again, but I could not concentrate on the text, because I was disturbed by a terrible foreboding. Some time passed, and the scratching sound was repeated, only this time at the door. Fear shook my body, but thinking it was the cat asking to go home, I calmed down a little. When I got to the front door and was about to open it, I decided to see who was there. There was no peephole in the door, so I looked through the keyhole. And I wish I hadn't. What I saw was something I wouldn't wish on any living creature. The porch light was on, and perfectly illuminated by this. It looked remotely like a man on all fours. But it had not 4 limbs, but, as it seemed to me at the time, 6. It had no hair, and its bald head with shiny black eyes stared at the door. The creature had long teeth that stuck out in different directions, and deadly pale skin peeling away from its face. I could smell the horrible smell. It was breathing right in front of me. Horror gripped me, my body went limp, in fear, and I recoiled from the door and fell. It made a muffled growl when it heard the sound, and started pounding on the door. I crawled slowly away from the door, trembling and panting with fear, trying not to make a sound. Once against the wall, I held my breath. But the creature already knew there was someone in the house, and it wanted to be inside. It pounded on the door with all its might, pounding harder and harder. Then I realized that the door wouldn't hold for long, so I decided to hide. I ran into the kitchen and climbed into the closet. And the creature was pounding harder and louder, and I heard the sound of wood breaking. My eyes went black, I got dizzy, my nerves failed, and I lost consciousness. It was morning when I woke up. I went to the door and saw that there was a hole in the door, but the creature was nowhere to be found. Then I went out into the yard, and there were dead rabbits lying all over the place, or rather what was left of them, and I vomited in my throat and went into the house. When my grandmother arrived, I told her everything. She believed me, because I wasn't the first person to see the thing. The neighbors even tried to shoot it, but they failed. This story really scared me, I couldn't stay there any longer, and I left the same day to go home to the city. Later, I heard the news that the mutilated body of a girl, a victim of this creature, had been found in the village. But this creature could never be caught. It had hidden in the woods.
If you liked the story, please subscribe and like. Till tomorrow.